Maximilian Alvarez for the Real News Network. I'm standing in downtown Washington, D.C. on Saturday, November 4th. Behind me, you see the thousands upon thousands of people who have come to Washington, D.C. for the March on Washington for Palestine. People around the country are here to demand an end to Israel's genocidal bombing of Gaza, here to demand an end to the 75-year Israeli occupation of Palestine. For the past few hours, we've been hearing speakers on the stage just over to my left, and right now, the march is about to begin, heading towards the White House. We are here on the ground for the Real News Network talking to folks about why they're here, why this is important, and what feels different about this moment.
So my name is Jaisal. I'm here with the Palestinian Youth Movement, and we are one of the organizers of today's March on DC, which is the largest Palestine march in DC in U.S. history. We are here to demand an end to the genocide against the Palestinian people with three central demands. We're calling for an immediate ceasefire. We are calling for an end to U.S. military aid to Israel. And we are calling to lift the siege on Gaza, which for 17 years has suffocated the people of Gaza and turned Gaza into an open-air prison.
So can you say a little more about PYM, about the work that y'all have been doing for years up until now, and what feels so different about this moment?
So the Palestinian Youth Movement is an organization of Palestinian Arab youth. We have chapters across the U.S., Canada, and Europe, and we are fighting for a free Palestine. And the PYM has been working tirelessly for years on this issue. And this moment feels like a turning point in history for us and for the Palestinian movement in general. But at the same time, this moment is the culmination of 75 years long of our people's struggle against the colonization of Palestine, fighting to return to our homeland, fighting to end the genocide against our people, to break down the apartheid walls, to shut down the military checkpoints, and to end U.S. funding to Israel, which in the last 2 days, the U.S. government has voted to send an additional $14.5 billion to the Israeli regime. We are talking about the United States government rewarding Israeli genocide, and we are here as the Palestinian Youth Movement, along with the masses of the United States, the masses of the world, to say that we will not be silent and we will fight until this genocide ends and until we see a free Palestine.
Even though the majority of the world, the majority of Americans support an immediate end to the carnage and destruction of Gaza, only 6 out of 535 members of this cowardly, decrepit Congress have endorsed a ceasefire. Every single human rights instrument ever drafted was meant to prevent these atrocities.
75 years ago, we've been under attack to leave our land. The only fault Palestinians did, these are Palestinians were born in their land. My grandpa, 75 years ago, he was farming and working in his house and his farm when the bomb fell in his house and they had to flee to Gaza. And then my dad has to flee to Lebanon. And they also bombed Lebanon and we had to flee to Egypt. Oslo Agreement and all this political work didn't help Palestinian people to live in peace. 75 years of suffering, losing people close to you, finding them hurt all the time. And even after we get our citizenship, I'm not able to visit my family there. My dad died in Gaza, and I was not able to visit and see him because the border always closed. Violence creates violence. Violence creates anger. Anger, it's not like before 75 years, stay only in Gaza. Palestinians now are all over the world because they kicked us. We had to flee our land. So you find Palestinian in America, you find Palestinian in Britain, all over the world. We are seeing people every day dying there. In Jerusalem, they are dying. They hit their houses and take our youth. In Jenin, in Nablus, West Bank, all over. Gaza is so bad because they are literally, it's genocide. They are doing genocide in Gaza. They're killing everyone. Yesterday, you just bombed 5 hospitals. People in ambulance, they bombed them, they killed them. And all over the world, the governors in all over the world, you want to get rid of Palestinian. Is it doable? It's not. It's not doable. We are not going down. Gaza will keep fighting, and Palestinian will keep fighting, peaceful way, and our resistance will keep fighting the right way.
Because there's a lot of kids dying in Gaza. We've got to make sure that they know that we know that they're dying, that we're aware of their deaths, and we're protesting to prevent more deaths.
And you're in ninth grade. You should be focused on school, on living your life, and yet you have to care about this stuff. Can I ask just what it feels like for someone like you in ninth grade to watch what's going on in Palestine right now?
You know, I've seen all the graphic pictures. I've seen everything in Palestine. At this point, there's no limit for what I can't see. I've seen everything now.
I called my father earlier. I told him I was coming to this march. He said, stay away from the cameras. We're all afraid, but this fear does not compare. They want us to think that we are paying personal prices, but we have our community. If they come for you, if they take your job, if they fire you from school, if they expel you, do not think of yourself as a casualty. You are not a casualty. You are fuel for the movement. You are part of the struggle.
So I'm an artist and cultural worker. I work with the People's Forum, and in the last 3 weeks, we have come together. More than 8,000 artists and cultural workers have signed on to a letter, Artists Against Apartheid, calling for solidarity with Palestine, recognizing the apartheid nature of Israel, and recognizing that as artists and cultural workers, it's our responsibility, it's our duty to use our skills, use our craft, in the way that we know it forms culture. And so needing to really be present, be active, and use the tools that we have to struggle and to fight and be part of this movement for Palestine. So we're about to march to the White House. This is an incredible show of solidarity with Palestine. I don't think we've seen something like this ever before in terms of solidarity with Palestine in the United States itself. And this moment is really specific. I think we're seeing people come out in numbers that we've never seen, people understanding the situation more clearly than ever before. I think it's just important that we participate, that we're active, and that we don't let this fight die down. We have to stay strong. This Thursday, November 9th, there will be a huge day of action where we're going to shut it down for Palestine. You can register in action and become part of the movement at shutitdown4palestine.org.
My name is Faraz Saleh. I am currently living in Durham, North Carolina. My heritage is Palestinian. We are from Sirat al-Dhahr, our original town, and it is a town by Nablus, and I have only been one time in my whole life, and that one time we were held on the border for 6 hours trying to come inside, and we were just tourists, and in that one instance they checked our documents, they called us our businesses back home, make sure that we're legitimate. And it's just a humiliating experience. I had one humiliating experience. I cannot imagine the daily humiliation that our brothers and sisters go through over there. So I'm here just to, show my pride in the Palestinian people, my people, and we just want a homeland to come to. It's just that simple. We want peace. We want a homeland, and we hope for it.
The language that President Biden and his party understand is the language of votes in 2024 elections. And our message is no ceasefire, no votes. No ceasefire, no votes. ceasefire, no votes. No ceasefire, no votes. No ceasefire, no votes. No ceasefire, no votes. No votes in Michigan. No votes in Arizona. No votes in Georgia. No votes in Nevada. No votes in Wisconsin. No votes in Pennsylvania. No votes in Ohio. No votes for you anywhere. If you do not call for a ceasefire now.
Well, we're here at Freedom Plaza in Washington, D.C. With all these people, hundreds of thousands of people that want to cease fire, they want to end the genocide in Gaza. And these are people who have come together for the cause. And I think this is going to be an inflection point, because come November, Joe Biden's going to see that his blind support for Israel is going to cost them the election. Before we end the occupation in Palestine, we have to end the occupation in Congress. So we've got to elect officials who are willing to stand up to AIPAC and the pro-Israel lobby, because unless we do that, America's morality will continue to, the people will look at us and say we're hypocrites. We don't believe in humanity. We don't believe in morality. You can't, if you change Palestine and for Ukraine, you see how we turn things around and how big of hypocrites we are. So we are fighting AIPAC. We're taking them on. We're going to elect a generation of politicians who are willing to put America's interest before Israel's interest.
My mother is a matriarch and a revolutionary from the Oglala Kota people. My grandfather was a Jewish anti-Zionist organizer who stood with Palestine since the Six-Day War, and he embedded that into my heart. So I'm here with you, with my brothers, with my sisters, with my relatives. No matter what they have done to try to wipe us out from history, to try to erase us, to put us through boarding schools, to take our land, to try to take our language, they were not successful. So we are here with you. And in this battle, we will not stop no matter what. In this historical moment, we must remember our ancestors.
We must remember our elders who prayed for this moment one day. They prayed, they sacrificed. No matter what they've ever done, it wasn't for nothing, because we will together achieve revolution and the liberation of all of our people everywhere.
One Cuban revolutionary once said that revolution is not a bed of roses. It is a struggle between the past and the future. My relatives, we are in struggle, therefore we are in revolution.
My name is Hala Al-Ahmed. I'm from Palestine. And also nationality as a Jordanian, because we moved from Palestine to Jordan, and we stayed in the refugee camps. Basically, I born in refugee camps, and because we have so much refugee camps in Jordan, because it's close to Palestine. My father, when he came, he was from Palestine to Jordan, past the Jordan River. He was walking because they told him to leave as soon as possible, and the only thing he grabbed with him, the document of his the deed of his land, his fatherlands, and we have around 500 acres, and this is like a small sample. This is from the Ottoman Empire, and it was registered in Turkey and Jerusalem, and we have a copy here. And I just this paper, it's 100 years old, 140 years old, and one day when we come back, we allowed to go back to Palestine, and we hope we retrieve our land.
Can I ask you if you could talk directly to Americans who think that this conflict just started on October 7, 2023, what it means to have documents showing how far back your own family's displacement goes.
Exactly, and the problem is when we say conflict, it's not a conflict. People came to our land, took our home, they told us leave. Under which right, we don't know. And the problem is the media. They don't know. Nobody knows here in America what's going on, and they think it's both of them. They think they should stop fighting. But the problem is they are they are the stealer. They stole our land, and they claiming they're innocent, and we are the victims. They're playing their victims, but we are the victims because I have to. If I stayed with my grandfather, we have houses, we have money. I don't have to come to this country and tolerate all this stuff from other people as a stranger and a Muslim and Arabic, and they ruin our life basically. Nobody pushed me to come. They push us to leave, and that's why it's sad. Now we live here. We have to accept it, and we have to say, okay, whatever you call me. We're here. Even the Palestinian outside the Gaza and West Bank, they are suffering too. We have racism, and they always call us name. And I denied born in refugee camp. I'm so proud of myself. I born in refugee camps, and I made it to here, and I'm approved to the world. We have our rights. And I'm so happy. My grandfather now, he's so proud of me to bring the document. It was between his hand and here in Washington, D.C.
And the truth is, the Western world is a lie. The truth is that when they said they were bringing freedom, they were bringing fascism. That when they said they were bringing the only democracy in the Middle East, they were bringing domination and barbaric colonization. That when they said they were the most moral army, they were the most monstrous and murderous that we have seen in modern history. That America's trusted allies is nothing but a cult of torturers. A cult of torturers. I'm an attorney. We filed a notice and demand to the members of Congress, letting them know that they will be prosecuted in criminal courts all over the world. That they will be sanctioned like they like to sanction us all over the world. The days of just speaking have ended. So when we tell you do not be afraid, this is about your future. Our words are not empty. 3 weeks ago, we convened an army of lawyers for all of you here and all over the world.
Hi, I'm Michaela Yamin. I'm an organizer with UAW at the National Institutes of Health, not representing the National Institutes of Health right now.
Hell yeah, baby.
My name is Griffin Mahon. I'm a temporary staff organizer with the United Auto Workers, supporting the fellows at the National Institutes of Health to form a union.
And can you guys say a little bit about why you're out here today and why it's important that the labor movement get involved in this fight?
We're out here today because there's a genocide happening in Palestine, and that's up.
An injury to one is an injury to all, and American-made bombs are being used to kill the families of Americans in Palestine, in addition to thousands and thousands of other people, and our government should not support that.
And if you could just talk to our fellow workers, our fellow unionists, folks in the labor movement about why it is important to not only fight for our rights and dignity in the workplace, but all around the world right now. What is your message to other working folks around the U.S. about why they should get involved in this fight?
Our politicians aren't representing us, and labor, we're all, we're organized, and we have the ability to put pressure on politicians. And when we come together and use collective bargaining that we use in our workplaces and improve our working conditions, we can extend that to the rest of the world.
The United States is the most powerful, wealthiest country in the world, but the people here have some of the, poorest living conditions compared to comparable countries around the world. And the reason for that is that people who work and the unions that represent us and all the people who don't have unions have not combined in order to politically fight the politicians in the Democratic and Republican Party who represent the interests of political elites and the capitalists.
Anything else you guys wanted to say before we wrap?
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, you are a war criminal. President Joe Biden, you are a war criminal. Prosecutor Karim Khan of the International Criminal Court, we put you on notice. This is not the culmination of anything. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. This is where it starts. It starts here. We march from here. We tell them from here. History begins now. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free!
We're out here today in Washington to make sure our voices are heard. Fighting for my people back home, man. There's people dying. There's my family dying. There's a lot of people dying back there. And, you know, it's sad watching our own people dying when we can't do nothing about it. You know, so us out here talking, maybe our voices will be heard, but this biting, maybe he'll do some, you know, some ceasefire and, like, end the and, like, do something about it. So all these people out here today is, you know, their voice is going to be heard one day, inshallah.
And as we know, I mean, this fight did not start on October 7th. We're talking about a 75-year-long occupation. And when I was growing up, I mean, like, you know, no one talked about this. No one talked about the Palestinian side. I just wanted to ask, do you feel like that is changing among the new generation? What are you hearing? What are you sensing?
Oh, yeah, this right here is going to make a big change because 75 years we've been occupied, but the moment we do something, they call us terrorists, but all what we're really doing is, you know, protecting our home and trying to get our home back. So us doing this, we're not terrorists. They're the terrorists killing innocent kids. You know, a lot of people know what's going on in the world, but they stay quiet. Social media try to hide it for them, but, you know, look at how many people are here. You know, they know what's going on.
And what would you say to folks out there who are maybe they want to get involved, but they are afraid of the pushback they'll get? Maybe they are being pressured into silence. If you could talk to people, young people, working people around the country and around the world about why they should get involved in this fight, what would you tell them?
I tell them, stop and go out there and say the truth. You know, go out there and say what's really going on. Don't hide. Don't be scared that something's going to happen to you. I'm over here speaking into the camera, showing my face because I don't give a. You know, I'm out here to tell the people and tell the world that your voice needs to be heard and you got to stop being scared and go out there and tell the truth.
They've killed tens of thousands of Palestinian people. Even before what we've seen now, when they've killed thousands of children from 2000 to just this year before this conflict, they were killing 100 children every year. That's what I condemn, the brutality of the Israeli apartheid forces. The whole reason why the world is standing up right now is because our hearts are in Palestine, because we know it's one of the purest struggles for liberation in the world today. So of course they want to demonize it. But let me tell you this, when the indigenous people in this country stood for their land, they demonized them. When the enslaved people of this country in Haiti rose to defend their human rights, they demonized them. When the people of Algeria rose for their human rights, they demonized them. So we're not going to allow the Palestinians to be demonized. They have the right to stand up, the right to defend themselves, and the right to resist. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
the violence did not begin in this recent wave. In 2009, Israel committed a mass genocide on the people of Gaza, murdering thousands of Palestinians. In 2014, again, thousands of Palestinians in Gaza murdered. In 2018, when Palestinians protested peacefully in what was dubbed the Great March of Return, because 80% of the Palestinians in Gaza are actually refugees from neighboring villages and towns who were kicked out of their villages and made refugees inside the open-air prison of Gaza. And when these people marched to the wall to demand to return to their homeland, they were shot en masse by Israeli snipers. And so really we are talking about 75 years long of a brutal colonial regime, of brutal violence, and the only way to end this violence is through the liberation of the Palestinian people. And so we are calling on the American people who we know do not support this genocide. 66% of the American public wants a ceasefire now. We see behind us tens of thousands, potentially 100,000 people behind us who are here to march to the White House to make their voices heard. We are calling on the American people. We are calling on people across the world to join us, to join this movement, get out onto the streets, to make your voices heard, to put pressure to end this genocide. And we are participating and leading a national or international shutdown on November 9th to say that we will not continue with business as usual while the bombs rain down on Gaza, while over 10,000 Palestinians have been murdered, almost half of whom are children, thousands trapped under the rubble. We refuse to be silent. Gaza is not alone. What you see here is a refusal to be silent. The masses have made their voices heard. We refuse to be silent. And this is a historical struggle. This is a struggle for freedom, a struggle for liberation. Gaza is just a small, small piece of land, but it is at the heart of the struggle, the global struggle against reactionary forces, against colonization, against Western-led imperialism. And we are calling on the masses of the world to not be afraid. You have a movement of people behind you. Join us and let's fight for freedom, just as we saw the fight against apartheid in South Africa, just as we have seen time after time people who are fighting for justice. We know that we are standing on the right side of history, and we know that we are stronger in numbers. So join us, do not be afraid, and we will win, and we will fight this fight together.
My American people, I live here in the USA for 20 years now. I was here in 9/11. And 9/11, it was a hard time for all foreign, not American people here. But I remember my neighbor, she baked a cake and she came to visit me to calm me down, and she said, if you need shopping, if you need any help, I will help you. I'm here for you. So I trust my people. I trust American people. If they know the truth, they will stand with us. If you count how many American here, you will find we are all American. Different color, different background, but we're all American. We support the right. We want justice. All Americans want justice. Our money, you send it to different country to bomb people. We need it here. We need it for school. We need it for our hospital. We need it for health care. You're wasting money on killing people.
Just treat us equal with the Israeli and Israel. We're not asking to kick them out, leave the country. Stay, but we have to have right like them. And we don't have right there. Leave Gaza alone, give them the right, let them live the other people, and we'll be okay with this. And America, they should stop. The American people, please do not pay your taxes or everything to outside the country, like all the support. Why we have to be a police? As I'm American. Why you have to be police outside the country, paying money in Iraq, spending money in Iraq, and in Syria, in Ukraine, and now in Gaza? Why? And here the economy is so bad, and the people here suffering. Trillion he sent there for weapons, killing children. Anyway, I hope he opened his eyes and see the truth.
Thank you so much for watching The Real News Network, where we lift up the voices, stories, and struggles that you care about most. And we need your help to keep doing this work. So please, tap your screen now, subscribe, and donate to The Real News Network. Solidarity forever.